Welcome back to Hear Me Out Sports. We're covering tight ends. Let's run it. All right. Before we can jump into week 10, we got to cover week 9. So let's throw up there the week 9 review. We got our tight ends, 55.17%. Huge drop from last week, and not too thrilled about it. The only redeeming part is right here, this hit. My backup options. I absolutely killed it on my backup options. People who I thought would still do good, I just didn't necessarily think that they would actually break that threshold. Some people in that category were people like Cade Otton, Cole Kmet, TJ Hawkinson, Isaiah Likely. Listen, we had some decent starters who definitely should have probably been played on your fantasy lineup. I recommended them if you were in a pickle, given the buys and the injuries that are going on, right? But some of our misses, TJ Hawkinson, like I said, Cole Kmet, also, like I said, we thought that they could break it, but we were just unsure, so we left him on the sit column. Tyler Conklin, he kind of let us down. I thought that he might have established that connection, but it appears that he has not. Some of the close calls, these are three guys who are the closest. Sometimes they work for us, sometimes they work against us. That's just the name of the game. With that, we're not going to waste too much time. But before I jump into week 10, I want to quickly cover again this beautiful mustache that I got going on. I probably got to get closer to the camera so that you can even see it. It's kind of pathetic, if we're being honest, but growing it for charity. So go ahead, look below. I got a link down there if you want to donate to the Movember charity. Anything helps, right? It all goes towards men's health. So look down there for that. That's where you're going to see me and Kiana with our mustaches just going wild. Now, without further ado, we're going to jump into week 10 buys. We got the Bengals, the Patriots, the Jets, and the Ravens. All these guys can hurt you because they are capable of breaking that threshold. We got Hayden Hurst. We got Jonnu Smith / Hunter Henry, whoever you want to choose from there. We got the New York Jets with Tyler Conklin. And then we got Mark Andrews, who has been dealing with injury, and because of that, he hasn't even been playing recently, but that is a big loss. We don't want to dally too much, though, on those buys. Listen, it happens. We're going to try to give you some more options going into it, but we're going to jump to Thursday Night Football, where we got the Panthers versus the Falcons. Kyle Pitts, listen, Carolina, they're awful on every aspect of the game, if you ask me. If Falcons, so they revolve around the run game, and we saw what Joe Mixon did to the Panthers last week in the run game. So if they start pressuring the run game, and then start doing these quick dumps to the tight end, it's really going to open up the field for them. And there's not many other reliable targets with the Falcons. They do have some freshmen or some rookies with Drake London who have been a decent target, but because they revolve around the run game and Panthers kind of suck, I think they're just going to have their day with the run. Carolina, both these guys benched. They're just an awful team. Inconsistency at the quarterback. You don't know who's actually going to be starting. You don't know who's going to get all the playing time. And they're just not targeted enough. They're all TD dependent. Even with TDs, they still usually don't break that threshold. Now we'll head to Tampa Bay, where we got the Seahawks versus the Buccaneers here on Sunday. Will Disley, Noah Fant, Colby Parkinson, nothing new, sitting them all. Last week, only 1 of 3 was a success, and most weeks, only 1 of 3 is a success, if any at all. They're all splitting time, eating out of each other's points. Tampa Bay's defense is not terrible, so they can give them enough of a problem. Tampa Bay side, Cade Otton has done actually pretty good. I like him. He's getting at least 5 targets consistently in the last few games. And so with that, if Brate is still out, I am starting him. But if Cameron Brate is in, I'm sitting both him and Cade Otton because I think that they're going to be splitting time and reps. So that's going to hurt them both. But I do like Cade Otton there. Now we got Vikings versus Bills. TJ Hawkinson. I was a little bit worried last week because, has to learn a new playbook, mesh with a new team, with a new quarterback, and I didn't know for sure if it was going to happen. It did happen, and now I'm not too worried. He got 9 targets in his first game, and I only see an increase coming his way, if anything at all. He was the go-to target in the red zone, it seemed like, too, and he had 16 points in PPR, and that is without a TD. So if you tag a TD on there, he's putting up some decent numbers. Now let's keep in mind, though, Buffalo, they do have a decent defense, so they could give him some problems, but I still think he's going to break our threshold. Now, Buffalo, 1-for-7, Dawson Knox on the season. Only 1 game has he ever broken 10 points. He averages 7.19 points, which is not bad, but there's just other targets there in Buffalo. So he's not one who I'm starting. Now we got the Lions versus the Bears. We got James Mitchell, Shane Zylstra, Brock Wright. I don't even know who we have there. The big reason being they need to find their tight end identity after trading away one of their biggest assets over there. I do think that Mitchell will be the go-to out of this offense. He seemed to play very well in that last game, and he was there when needed. He helped in some first downs and touchdowns, so that's huge. Chicago, Cole Kmet, I do like him with Justin Fields when they're passing more. Justin Fields, again, a threat on the feet, so if a linebacker has to make a decision, then he could choose Justin Fields, which opens up that tight end option just for a quick dump over the line. So for that reason, I'm starting Cole Kmet. Now we got Broncos versus Titans. I said before they went on bye that I do like Greg Dulcich, and I should have started him in the last game. He's only played 3 games, and he's 3 for 3 on the season so far on breaking our threshold. So really liked that, like seeing those numbers. He is their primary tight end, and he does seem consistent and good so far, so I'm going to keep him in there. Tennessee Titans, we got Austin Hooper. I'm benching him. It's just not a passing team. The success is on the ground, and he is 0% on the year. Now Jaguars versus Chiefs. Evan Ingram, he has kind of let us down a little bit. His targets have dropped. There's some health concerns as far as he has some back problems. And even if he does play, he could be limited because of that. Maybe even come out early because of that. Give away more of his reps because of that. And all of those just added up makes me not feel confident in starting him. The upside, though, is that Kansas defense, they offer a lot of points, almost 12 points per game to opposing tight ends. So that's the upside. He could be a good option if, again, your person is on bye or hurt or something's going on. On Kansas City side, Travis Kelce, plug and play. He's just too good not to start. This is a tough defense he'll go against, but I don't think they can stop Kelce. Browns versus Dolphins. David Njoku, I have in the start column. He has a high ceiling of 20 plus points. He's got decent range, with the exception of week 1, but we'll just knock that off, saying that might have been some sort of weird fluke. And he's just a solid target for this Cleveland offense. And Miami, man, they give up points, giving up almost 13 points per game to opposing tight ends. Now, Miami, I have Mike Gesicki in the sit column. He is a boom or bust, and he is only 3 of 9 games so far being a boom, breaking our threshold. And he's just not the top priority. He's not the top target. And Cleveland's defense is good enough that I think that he is just not going to be the target. Now we got Texans versus Giants. Jordan Akins, OJ Howard. Listen, just not enough targets going their way. You barely even know who they are. I just don't like it. And there's some competition going on at the tight end position, which hurts them all as far as fantasy points are concerned. Now we got the Giants with Chris Myarick and Tanner Hudson. I just can't trust this offense in New York. Sometimes there's some flashes of greatness from the offense as a whole, but with both these guys being backups to Bellinger, I don't think that any of them are too great of an option. Waiting for Bellinger to return, and even then, I still don't know if I'll play him. Now we got Saints versus Pittsburgh Steelers, Taysom Hill, Juwan Johnson. All I'm saying is that Taysom Hill is so risky that he could cost you a win in some of these pivotal weeks leading up to the playoffs. So I have him on the bench column. Juwan Johnson, week 9, he was saved by a big play touchdown. Without that, he still wouldn't have broken, so I have them both in the sit column. Neither are great options, and Pittsburgh has a number 8D against the tight end. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, Pat Freiermuth, I have liked him in the past. He's 4 of 7 so far in the season, so above 50% at least on breaking the threshold. The targets are there, and he's averaging over 10 points per game. But New Orleans has the number 1 defense against tight end, allowing less than 6 points per game. And they also have a pretty tough QB situation there as far as he's not getting great looks or great passes his way just because their QBs aren't that great. So because of that, I have him in the sit column, but he is another one of those guys you might want to look at starting. Colts versus Raiders. Kylan Grant and Mo Ali Cox, I have them both sat. They had 3 receptions between the two of them in this last game. That's just not enough volume. It's a lackluster offense. Sam Ellinger is not good, and he hasn't been putting up numbers either. So both of them are sat. On the other side, we got Raiders, Darren Waller, Foster Moreau. Both these guys are very capable of breaking that 10 points. I'm just worried for 2 reasons. One, Darren Waller for injuries. He seems to be injured a lot, and the other is Devontae Adams. He is the target in Las Vegas. He is getting so many passes his way now that it makes it hard for anyone else to thrive, and you're stabbing in the dark as to who might get the second place as far as targets are concerned. So for that, I have them both sat. Cowboys v Packers. Dalton Schultz, I have in the start column. Decent target share under Dak Prescott. Green Bay, they do have a number 3 defense, but seeing what the Lions were able to do against Green Bay, I've got Dalton Schultz in the start column. I mean, there's 2 touchdowns scored by the Lions, and they both have to be by tight ends. So if Dalton Schultz can have at least half that luck, then he's going to come away with above 10 points. Packers, Robert Tonyan, their offense is very run dependent, running back dependent, and Lazard is the main passing option. Aside from that, I don't see a lot of targets going to Robert Tonyan. The only upside is that they have a couple other injuries there with like Romeo Dubes and some other people there. So because of that, you might want to start him, but I still don't think that that's a safe option. Cardinals v. Rams. Zach Ertz, very consistent option. He has a tougher matchup here against the Rams, but he seems to be the short option, and so that means that DeAndre Hopkins isn't eating too much out of his bowl. Zach Ertz is still able to get his, and Rams could put up some points, which means that Cardinals are going to have to stay on the passing game. Rams, Tyler Higbee, I have in the sit column. It's a phenomenal matchup against Arizona's defense, who's number 31 overall, allowing 16.1 points per game to opposing tight ends. But he's had 3 receptions in the last 3 games, and because of that, it's so hard for me to trust him. He's failed us the last 3 games, and I just don't want to keep going down this road. Now we got Chargers versus the 49ers. This is my matchup of the week. This is the only game I have 2 starters in. Gerald Everett and George Kittle. Gerald Everett, it's hard to bench him given his target share. If he's able to come up with enough completions, just on PPR leagues, he should get halfway there to our 10-point threshold. There is some injury within that receiver core, which still benefits him. He has a tough matchup against the Niners, but I still think he's capable. On San Francisco side, George Kittle, again, all right matchup against the Chargers. He is a good tight end. There is a bit of concern all around from multiple sources saying that CMC is going to be eating out of his bowl and not being able to let him get the targets that he needs because they could just do quick swing passes to him and some of these other things. But I think that George Kittle's still going to get his. So for that reason, I have him as a start. I think Kittle's the safer option, and I think he's going to come away with more points. Commanders versus Eagles. Got Dallas Goedert in start column, Logan Thomas in sit. Nothing new really here. Washington, Logan Thomas, he's just not a central piece of the offense. They have other targets there, and Heineke just does not seem to be looking at the tight ends. And they're going against now a tough Philadelphia Eagles team. Now, Philadelphia, no-brainer for Dallas Goedert. He's posted up some great numbers. He had an awesome Week 9. And even though it's a kind of tough matchup, he's still going to be capable and get you some points. Now, that wraps us up. Listen, this is a pretty decent week. We're slowly getting closer and closer to playoff time, so wins are just more and more valuable as we go along. You know where you're at. You know if you're making playoffs or not, and we're trying to help you get there. So like, comment, subscribe. Reach out to us. DM us on Twitter or on Instagram, and we'll try to respond to you as quickly as possible. We usually respond within the day, no problem, and we can help you out with your leagues if you have any specific questions. Now with that, we will catch you in the quarterback video later this week. We're out.